Alaska, infamous for the many UFO sightings in the skies above. But beneath its 95,000 square miles of ocean, could there be alien life?
According to Soviet naval intelligence, more than half the UFOs coming in and going out of this planet are coming out of our oceans. What a perfect place not to have human witnesses.
But it seems there is compelling evidence of UFOs using the oceans of the Alaska Triangle. And it comes directly from U.S. servicemen themselves. In 1969, Dan Willis was serving in naval communications when he reported a UFO incident that would change his life. A recent change in military law means he can now speak publicly about it without fear of jail.
I was a certified high-speed code operator, type of thing. I worked at the code room, the Naval Communications Station in San Francisco. I had a top-secret, extra-sensitive material handling security clearance. I received a secret priority message from a ship that was off the coast of Alaska, coming in through a Morse code channel.
The crew were reportedly startled by what they just witnessed off the port side of their ship.
The crew reported a brightly glowing reddish-orange elliptical object approximately 70 feet in diameter that emerged out of the ocean and then shot straight up into space. The radar operator tracked the blips going in excess of 7,000 miles per hour. I'm reading the message as I'm decoding it from Morse code. It was a highly unusual message. I never experienced anything like that, so it all stuck, it burned like an image in the back of my head, this message.
Making a UFO sighting public was a crime for any U.S. serviceman under the 1953 Espionage Act. But Dan was in a dilemma about keeping such an important event under wraps.
I have to admit, for a second, I was thinking of taking this secret message to make a copy of it on the Xerox machine, but I knew if I did, I'd be facing 10 years in prison, so I had a second thought about doing that.
So Dan took the top secret message to his superiors, who then passed it on to the highest ranks of the U.S. Navy. Dan came to one conclusion about this reported UFO sighting.
This is 1969, so I couldn't imagine that anybody on Earth had this type of technology, and I imagined it to be extraterrestrial. It was something that was in an official Navy secret report going to the Chief of Naval Operations. This was not part of my reality.
This startling UFO report was never to see the light of day. But the incident continued to trouble Dan.
People don't question things until they have an actual experience themselves, and since that experience, over the decades, it left a burning question in my mind: what is this?
After Dan's life-changing experience, he decided to hunt for evidence of other UFO sightings across Alaska's oceans. He was startled by what he found. Could there be a secret underwater alien base off the coast of Alaska? In 1969, naval communications operator Dan Willis received an urgent message about a UFO sighted here.
The radar operator tracked the blips going in excess of 7,000 miles per hour.
It was kept under wraps by the U.S. Navy. But in the years that followed, Dan decided to investigate other sightings over the Alaskan seas. He was surprised to find a pattern of major incidents reported by U.S. servicemen that were never made public.
I've been researching through, and there's a number of reports I find of discs coming out of the ocean near Alaska. This particular report happened all the way back in the summer of 1945.
An Army transporter ship, U.S. Delaroff, was heading past Adak, one of the Aleutian Islands, in the southwest corner of Alaska. Suddenly, one of the crew was said to have spotted ripples in the water just a mile from their vessel.
In this report from one of the crew members, he stated that he turned and saw a large round object which just emerged from the sea.
They witnessed a UFO come up out of the water that was 150 to 200 feet wide. And it started circling the boat and making everyone feel rather uneasy.
1945, that could be quite startling to see a 150, 250-foot circular object come out of the ocean. Totally quiet. It was on its own propulsion system, wasn't affected by the wind, the sailors said.
This mysterious, unidentified flying object was said to be in range of the ship's guns. But the crew held their fire for fear of provoking an attack.
It circled around the ship 2 or 3 times until it took off, leaving everyone mesmerized.
The crew kept watch as U.S. Delaroff continued on its voyage to Seattle. But there were no further reported sightings of the UFO.
All 14 members of the crew witnessed this, including the radioman, and they signed a summary and reported this when they got back to shore.
Mysteriously, the top secret report compiled by the crew never saw the light of day. Dan believes he's identified a pattern.
They're all strikingly similar. All the reports that I've researched through, people see things coming up under the ocean, and they shoot off at tremendous speeds.
Could these UFO encounters be proof of an underwater alien base in Alaska? If so, why would such an advanced life form be attracted to its waters? UFO researcher Johnny Enoch has been investigating.
In the reports I've heard about extraterrestrial craft coming in and out of the water, it's usually because there is an underwater network that they're accessing, where they may enter in one spot and leave from another. Some have said the UFOs are using wormholes as a superhighway to connect to other places in the universe.
Johnny believes he's found a precedent for an alien base in Alaska's waters. Using satellite imagery, he's found what he thinks is an abandoned extraterrestrial structure in the Pacific Ocean off the Californian coast.
What we're looking at here is some underwater footage off the coast of Malibu, and it's absolutely incredible. We have signs of an advanced civilization due to the architectonics here. We have several pillars all lined up in a symmetrical fashion, and there appears to be some sort of a lintel or doorway in the front of it. And even if you look at the top of it, it's got this roof-like structure. Perhaps this is the remains of an ancient and advanced civilization. I think we very well could be looking at an underwater alien base.
Back in Alaska, the reported sightings of UFOs over its seas have continued right up to present day. Most notably, around Smitty's Cove, 60 miles from Anchorage. locals have reported something strange lurking in the waters.
I saw thousands and thousands of those ships out there. I was freaked out.
If aliens have set up home in the oceans, it could only be here in the Alaska Triangle.